Good, happy Monday morning, January 13, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, new class action suit against New Hampshire's state-run youth detention center claims decades of abuse. Lawsuit filed Saturday. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
The lawsuit filed Saturday comes just months after two former counselors were charged with the alleged sexual assault of a teenage boy at the Sununu Youth Services Center in the late 1990s. That alleged victim, David Meehan, has self-identified himself and is now the lead plaintiff in this new lawsuit. He joins 35 other people who claim they were physically, sexually, and emotionally abused at the center between 1982 and 2014.
These are boys and girls that were taken into state custody and then beaten, raped, and tortured by the very state employees whose job it was to protect them.
Riley says all were between the ages of 11 and 17 at the time of the alleged abuse, and that their perpetrators were both men and women. He says the alleged abuse happened both on and off the property.
When staff members would take people off campus, take kids off campus, it occurred in basements, it occurred in their rooms.
The lawsuit was filed against the state of New Hampshire, the Department of Health and Human Services, along with former and current employees of the center. In a statement to News 9, the Attorney General's office says in July it launched an investigation into the center, specifically looking at the time frame between 1990 and 2000. Adding the investigation into whether additional juveniles were subjected to physical or sexual violence at the Youth Development Center remains active and ongoing. And now, through his attorney, David Meehan says he hopes this lawsuit will help the survivors get the support they need, and it will also encourage other victims to come forward. Live here in Manchester, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Pedestrian killed while crossing I-293 in Manchester, police say. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
How does the automatic emergency braking in the Chevy Equinox work?
What?
Can you tell me how lane keep assist with lane departure warning works?
Lane departure warning? What is that exactly?
Kids may not know about the 2020 Chevy Equinox's standard safety features, but every parent should.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on select Chevy models, or get $3,750 cash allowance on most Equinox models. Plus, current GM owners get an additional $750 cash allowance.
State police say it appears to be a complete and tragic accident that left a 54-year-old man dead Saturday night, closing a portion of I-293 near Exit 7 in Manchester for hours.
I decided to try to cross the highway to go to a gas station for help.
Investigators say Billy Slatton of Deering and his wife pulled over after experiencing mechanical problems with their car. While trying to cross the highway, he was struck by three vehicles, one of them sitting as evidence at Troop B's State Police Barracks this afternoon. All three drivers remained on scene and are cooperating with authorities. A difficult scene for all who witnessed the tragic event, including the first responders.
If you're having issues trying to understand what happened, please talk to your family. Reach out for professional help if you need it. It is an uncommon event that you don't see every day, and it can be traumatic.
No one else was hurt. State police urging people to do everything in their power to keep themselves safe when in an emergency on the highway.
Pull off to the right and try to get out of the roadway if possible. Call 911. trooper will be along shortly to lend assistance.
No one has been charged. Any witnesses who have not already spoken to investigators are asked to contact state police.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Bennett Yang looking to gain ground in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
Michael Bennett drew this crowd today in Manchester, feeling optimistic about making a late surge in New Hampshire.
Senator, inside of a month until the primary, are Granite Staters starting to pay attention to your campaign now?
I hope so. I think they are.
Only 6 candidates have qualified for Tuesday's debate in Iowa. The 2 White House hopefuls in the Granite State Sunday did not qualify for it.
Why should we have fewer people on the debate stage? We should have more people on the debate stage so they can choose.
Bennett says his background in the private sector as a superintendent and a senator uniquely qualifies him to lead the country. He's counting on undecided voters.
They're less decided today than they have been throughout this entire election because they're unsure who can actually take on Donald Trump. And I think I've got a really strong case to make there.
Andrew Yang turns 45 tomorrow, and he has one big birthday wish.
For my birthday, I would like to become president-elect.
Today, he's rallying supporters at canvas launches across New Hampshire.
You all are the revolution. You know, this revolution is going to happen just like this right here in New Hampshire. And then we are going to shock the world on February 11th.
Yeah. Yang says people are inspired by his campaign to transform the country and build a brighter future for the next generation.
That's right now not happening. It's not happening by the numbers. We can all feel it. The reason why Trump won.
And as the primary nears, we have you covered both inside of our mobile app and under the politics section of our website, WMUR.com. There you'll find everything you need to know on the candidates before you head to the polls.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. futures point to a higher open. U.S. stock index futures were higher Monday morning as investors focus on China-U.S. trade developments. Protests break out in Iran after plane shot down. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
New developments in Iran. President Trump's own defense secretary appearing to contradict his claim about Iran targeting 4 American embassies under threat of attack, saying he saw no specific evidence Iran was ready to strike. And today, protesters taking to the streets of Tehran outraged over their country's military shooting down of a Ukrainian passenger jet by mistake. Police turning out in riot gear. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, chaos in the streets of Tehran. Iranian security forces in riot gear, cracking down on protesters marching against the regime. Thousands chanting shame on President Rouhani. Protesters hit with tear gas, the tensions quickly rising. Anger erupting after Iran's stunning admission that they mistakenly shot down a Ukrainian passenger jet, killing all 176 on board. The government says they mistook the plane for a missile just hours after they attacked U.S.-backed bases as revenge for the killing of Iran's top general, Qasem Soleimani. In the days after Soleimani was killed, Iranians were united with outrage against the U.S. Now, these protesters seen taking down posters of the slain military leader. And on this street, marchers avoid walking on U.S. and Israeli flags painted on the pavement just days earlier so people could step on them in disrespect. Tonight, President Trump tweeting in Farsi in support of the uprising, saying, "Do not kill your protesters." The president still insisting the killing of Soleimani stopped imminent threats, including attacks at U.S. embassies in the region. The president making the case on Fox News.
Do they have large-scale attacks planned for other embassies? And if those were planned, why can't we reveal that to the American people? Wouldn't that help your case?
I can reveal that I believe it would have been 4 embassies. Could have been a lot of other things, too.
Secretary of Defense Mark Esper trying to clarify the president's remarks.
Well, the president didn't say there was a tangible, he didn't cite a specific piece of evidence. What he said is he believed.
Are you saying there wasn't one?
I didn't see one with regard to 4 embassies. What I'm saying is I share the president's view that probably my expectation was they were going to go after our embassies.
All right, Stephanie Ramos joins us now live on set. And Stephanie, I want to go back to that exchange we just heard from Defense Secretary Mark Esper. On the alleged attacks from Iran, the president said, quote, "I believe it probably would have been 4 embassies." Esper said today he did not see that credible evidence.
Exactly. Defense Secretary Esper said he has not seen any credible evidence of an attack on those 4 embassies. He says the president only said that he believes an attack was near. Esper says he agrees with that assessment.
All right, Stephanie, thank you for that.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that is it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.